Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Welcome to the Dutch coast and the sweeping dunes of Zandvoort, where the penultimate round of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sports Car Challenge is about to start. Tonight's 75-minute race takes place on one of Europe's most flowing, unforgiving circuits, a track that rewards with rhythm and punishes mistakes. I'm Greg Ginsburg, and joining me in the announce booth once again is Larry Lefty McLeod, and of course, let's not forget Jonathan Grabowski's back behind the scenes, giving you all the best views of tonight's action. And so 2 weeks ago at the Red Bull Ring, rain reshaped the championship picture. In GT4 AM Slowbros Racing's Dale Maxwell was the only driver in class to finish on the lead lap, taking his third win of the season, while in GT4 Pro, Leo Dragota earned his fifth victory of the year, or pardon me, of the season for Orion Race Team, continuing his dominant run, and in LMP3 SRT Esports, Josh Chinsky claimed his fifth win as well, strengthening his position at the top of the leaderboard. Now we arrive at Zandvoort, where the cambered corners, the blind entries, and the constant elevation changes make every lap a test of precision and of nerve. With just 2 rounds left in this season, every move matters and every point counts, Larry.
It certainly does. Just 1 round after this, if you want to be in the hunt, you've got to stay in the hunt. Tonight is the place to do that. So lay out the beach chairs and get your towels. The beach is just a few yards away there on the shore, and it's going to be an exciting thing. I think after the rain, everyone needs a towel to dry out anyway. Why not use it at the beach here in Zandvoort? I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how this sets up for our finale coming up in 2 more weeks. This is what a season it's been.
You know, I think Fernando Alonso broke out the lawn chair at the wrong circuit. That this is where he should have done it. But there's Mike Dam on track, right is in the midst of qualifying, as we are now right at the 7.5 minute mark in qualifying, where we give our drivers 15 minutes and 4 attempts, 4 flying laps to set their fastest time and set the grid for this evening's race. And it looks like Mike Dam, after 2 laps, has decided to call it a qualifying session. At least he's retreated back to the pits. We'll see if he comes back out for a final lap, as we're on board right now with Taj Edwards, also from the Orion Race Team in his Porsche. He was our fastest driver during the week in practice here at Zandvoort, and like our pro cars, well, we'll get back there. But let's take a look at Michelle Squerick, who currently has just now set the fastest lap time, and she leads the LMP3 field here by about a little bit less than 2 seconds at the moment. And of course, all of our LMP3 cars, you can pick them out. Those Dallara, or probably those Ligier powered machines, as they've got the orange number boards on the sides and mirrors, yada yada. Our GT4 cars, like Taj Edwards, who's out there and is our fastest driver on track currently. We'll check back in with Taj. The pro racers, they'll have the red number boards, mirrors, windshield banners, and end plates on their wings. And then our AM drivers, like Michael Klimovich, who is currently your fastest AM driver on track in his Slowbros McLaren, they all have the green number boards, windshield banners, and mirrors, end plates on their wings as well. And at the moment, Michael Klimovich has about half a second on the rest of the AM field, including brother David Klimovich, who we're gonna, I think we're gonna be talking to here. Oh no, actually, we're gonna be talking to Mike Klimovich, but David Klimovich, they're currently, it's a 1-2 Slowbros qualifying session. Dale Maxwell, our winner from 2 weeks ago, currently sitting third in AM. And of course, as I read out all those colors, if you look on the left-hand side of your screen, Larry, you'll be able to color match them to the different classes.
All the colors. It is so colorful. Yes, at the a couple of LMP3s that have got their qualifying laps in. Still waiting for Josh Chinsky to set a lap. He's, I think, just now starting his qualifying, but right now he's going to be chasing Michelle Squerick, who's got top time so far. as she's got that 129.3.
Yeah, she lowers it just to get. Well, look at this, Larry. Josh Chinsky puts in his first lap, a 129.62. So almost exactly 0.3 off of Michelle Squarick. Now, as we move over to GT4 Pro and Leo Dragota, 5 wins out of 6 rounds, and he is currently second fastest, and he looks like he's on a flyer at this point, Larry, as we'll see when he comes to the line. He is trying to beat a 141.46 as he goes through Tarzan Bach. No, that's Ari Lyondike Bach, the final corner, onto the front straight, and Leah Dragota, a 141.46. That's almost identical. Let's look at the timing tower there, Larry, and see the times. 2/1000ths of a second, 141.459 to 461, the difference between the 2 Orion drivers.
The 4 Orions right now locking out the front 2 rows is a pretty impressive feat. Tells me that the Orion team came prepared for this battle tonight. And the only one breaking into that top 5 is that wrong stuff driver, Rob Schwenkler. He's the only one who seems to be able to keep up in there and try and run with those Orion Porsches. That's going to be a tough feat tonight.
All right, let's move over to Dale Maxwell from Slow Bros, who is looking to repeat from 2 weeks ago. And as he's coming across the line, Larry, let's do this. As he stays third fastest, we have our guest for this evening, Slow Bros Racing's Michael Klimovich, sitting in the green room. Let's bring him on in.
All right, Michael Klimovich joining us here pre-race. And, well, Michael, looks like qualifying so far has gone pretty well. Tell me a bit about your preparation here for Zandvoort. As he's on mute.
Mike, if you can unmute yourself, or is he still on? No, he's not still on track. Well, you know,
come back to him a little bit, or he?
Yeah, Larry, he might still be trying to get his head above water.
Oh, sorry about that, guys. Can you hear me?
There he is. Yes.
There he is.
Hey, sorry about that, guys.
No worries.
No, it was just saying that practicing has been going pretty well for this. We had a little bit of a mishap with the track configuration that we were going to be running, so practiced the 2009 circuit quite a bit actually, which is a little bit more difficult than this one. So it was good practice, but got a decent amount of sessions in with the Slow Bros, and looking forward to the race tonight.
Yeah, the Slow Bros look like you guys got a pretty good qualifying order, of course, right now with yourself at the lead of the M category. Are we expecting a pretty close match between yourselves, the Klimoviches in the McLarens, and perhaps Dale sitting there in that Ford?
Yeah, no, I think Dave has definitely been running pretty decent. Dale is running good too. Don't want to jinx myself here, but I'm feeling pretty confident going into tonight. Made sure I don't have the wrong tires on, so that's a good start.
Yeah, I mean, if there's rain tonight, you're just going to stay on the dries, you lock in the dries, because what we saw in the ring didn't really go well.
No, that was a bold strategy choice. We thought the track might dry out a little bit, so had to hang in there for a lap or two, and it did not dry out.
Well, the way we kept switching back and forth between you two.
It was it was a mess out there. So won't be doing that again in the future.
Did you guys? I don't know if it was yourself and Dave. Did you guys convince each other that dries were the way to go, and you would both go on to them? Because looks like that's what happened.
I was gonna stick with wets, and then Dave was talking about it, and he kind of talked me into the dries. We were chatting about it afterwards, and he was kind of talking about himself apparently, and not what I should do. I was about 7 seconds back from Dale, and he was running real fast, so figured I had to try something to catch back up to him. And, obviously I'm in contention for third place now. I think I'm down about 14 points. So trying to get as far up the leaderboard as I can and, just get as many points.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive to watch. And Greg and I were thinking perhaps you guys needed to start your own synchronized swimming team, because it looked like you guys had kind of a dueling, sliding, spinning all in the same corner, actually, at least for a little while.
Yeah.
You guys thought about doing that?
No, I think impressive is definitely one word for it.
It certainly was. It was a lot of fun, even though it may have been at your expense, but we
Ah.
appreciated it.
Yeah. No, it was
Yeah.
it was
Well,
interesting.
it looks like we're getting ready to grid. I'll just give you a chance if you wanted to give anybody a mention or drop anybody's names here before we head off to grid.
What's that? I'm having trouble hearing you.
Oh, I just didn't know if you wanted to give any mentions or any shout outs here before we head off to the
Oh,
grid.
yeah. Hi, Mom. And hi to the rest of the Klim Club. And hello to my wife and son. I'm pretty sure they're watching. So, yeah.
All right. Well, good luck tonight. And with any luck, maybe we'll get a chance to talk to you in about an hour and 15.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, everybody. There you go from Slow Bros Racing. That is Mike Klimovich. Driving his dry weather tired shod McLaren as he heads from the green room to the grid. And so, Larry, let's run down the starting order for tonight. Starting on pole, we'll start off with our LMP3 racers. It is an SRT eSport lockout with Michelle Squarick taking pole. Her teammate Josh Chinsky will start on the outside of row number one. Zach Herbert from Echelon Simsport will start third, with Jeff Jacobs from the SDK Foundation starting in fourth. And then we get Pan Hyraday and Russ Ruddick taking row number 3.
All right, as we head over to our GT4s, and it is an all Orion lockout of the front 2 rows. On the pole, though, is our points leader coming in, Leo Dragota. He'll be on the inside. On his outside is going to be teammate Taj Edwards. Row 2, we continue with the Orion twosomes here. Is Mike Dam on the inside and Travis Schwenke in the 4 spot. As we get to row 3, we'll have the wrong stuff's Robert Schwenkler. He'll be paired up there with Eric Violet, D2D Sim Racing Zone. Behind them, Lucas Dragota from Dragon Sport Racing will be lined up alongside. Well, we just talked to him. Slow Bros lead driver tonight, the fastest of the AM drivers, Michael Klimovich. Behind them, it's going to be Michael's brother David of the Slow Bros, and then behind them, you've got Dan Carrito of DCR Sim Racing. Next row back, the other Slow Bro, Dale Maxwell, alongside Stephen May from May Force. Then you've got the Frito Sport entry of John Casey alongside Ryan Haley. And then finally, we have Greg Brockway, another Frito Sport driver, and the last of our Slow Bros, it is Doug Klimovich.
All right, there you go. That is our field tonight as the pace car now gets underway and starts to bring the field through this beautiful Zandvoort course. 14 turns, 2.6 miles, or 4.25 kilometers if you're counting, as they are making their way around. Of course, tonight, as with all miniMite Sports Kart Challenge races, we are brought to you by the SCCA Foundation, with tonight's race stewards provided by them. The SCCA Foundation provides funding for the SCCA Academy, training the next generation of race workers and volunteers that make real-life road racing events possible. Visit sccafoundation.org for more information. And so, Larry,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, it's great track here. One of the things that is very difficult to pass around here, that front straight seems to be the best place to try and make a move. There's a couple other places you might be able to shove it down the inside. We'll see how it goes within class. Between the 2 classes, because a lot of these corners, a lot of the straightaways, or in fact, this back straight is more of a sweeping, winding road. A lot of judgment calls will be happening between our LMP3s and our GT4 drivers. We'll see how much they've practiced interacting between the 2 classes and if they're ready to pass in the right spots, or if we're going to perhaps see some other agony and defeat moments here tonight. But hopefully everyone's ready for this mixed racing at a very twisty and turny track.
Yeah, indeed. You know, and you said it, going into the 180 over at turn 1 at Tarzan Bach, or as I'm sure I'll call it Tarzan Boy at some point, right? One of the premier passing opportunities. Also a little bit later in the course, there is a decreasing radius right-hand turn over at turn 9, a heavy braking going into that corner as well. So we may see some passing attempts there as well. But this is, and you see here, Larry, I mean, it is a true, even though it was updated a number of years ago for Formula One, it is not a very wide course. And a lot of the way this is laid out is because of the beaches, and you see those sand dunes around that. There really was not the opportunity to expand it or widen it and you know, at least for these more narrow LMP3 cars, and obviously the GT cars probably won't be that big of an issue. But you can see you're certainly not going to be going 3 wide into any of these sections.
The only
here.
exception might be when they come around through the turn 8 and 9 and 10. It is a lot of pavement there to hang yourself on, but a lot of it isn't always the best line, and that's really, we'll see some dive bomb moves in there. That might also be where we see some of our prototype passing on the GT cars. But otherwise, when you come out of turn 1, where that hairpin is, all the way through that bowl feature, really going to be difficult to get alongside. We'll see how each class does on their own before we start mixing. It looks like we're coming off of the final
corner now.
14, bank turn toward the checker.
That's
Not
it.
yet.
Going
How
through
about green first?
Ari Leyendijk Bach there. You see, I got it right on the 3rd try. As we'll see the pace car now head to the pit lane, and right at that big orange markers where our start zone actually begins. Starter will look over the field as we wait for the call. And green flag, it's in the air, Larry, and we are underway here as our 6-car, is it 6-car? Yeah, 6-car LMP3 field goes down the short run into Tarzan Bach and back around, and they are now gonna run up to this little chicane here over going into turns 2 and turn 3. Another little hairpin to slow them down as the GT4 cars now get the green flag, and we're underway once again here in Zandvoort, as it is all Orion there at the front of the pack, as you mentioned, Larry. Robert Schwenkler in his Wrong Stuff McLaren sitting in 5th position behind that trail of Orion machines. Eric Violette, who admittedly did not get a lot of practice this week, already under attack from Lucas Dragota's Dragon Sport Mercedes, as they're door-to-door now going into turn 7.
Yeah, this is going to be fascinating to see some of those moves, and that looks like that battle may have just taken a turn as Lucas Dragota finds himself in the guardrail, and I think I see one of our slow bros, McLaren's, off in the distance through the gravel trap. Yep, there he is, Michael Klimovich. The pre-race interviewee may have turned against him there, as he's now finding himself back there behind as Doug Klimovich goes on by, and I see in the background Lucas Dragota may have recovered. Let's catch the replay here as Lucas was alongside of Eric Violette. You were just talking about it.
Yep.
And there they are side by side, and Lucas just loses it. And luckily, well, for everyone except for Klimovich, he managed to tag 2 Klimoviches there. In fact, that was pretty impressive. Doug manages to get going again, but that could have been a lot worse there with that spin right in the middle of the traffic on the opening lap.
All right, so Lucas Dragota now takes the car to the pits, and Larry, Lucas has had a bad run of it of late. I think we saw where he had issues in the wet at the Red Bull Ring 2 weeks ago and retired early, and we'll see. Again, we'll see how things play out here.
Yeah, tough start there to his race here tonight on cold tires opening lap. This little battle, though, of these SRT Esports teammates will be interesting. With it looked like Josh got the advantage on the opening corner and really at the green flag to get the jump on Michelle Squirk. So he's got the advantage now. We'll see if the two of them just sort of settle in and see if they can start to drop some of the group behind them, namely Zach Herbert running there in 3rd.
Speaking of the SCCA Foundation, saw both Josh as well as Kyle Strikers running in the SCCA virtual runoffs on iRacing this weekend. And yeah, there you go. Michael Klimovich brought his car to the pits as well. And looks like Lucas Dragota has rejoined. So good to see that. But yeah, good runs. Saw Chinsky and Strikers both in I think the USF 2000 cars, as well as the I think they were actually in the Formula V's, if I remember correctly. And decent runs for both of them. Yeah. And some very, very tough fields, as we're on board right now with Dale Maxwell, who has us with those Klimovich issues at the front of the AM field on the opening lap. Dale Maxwell now has assumed the lead for Slow Bros Racing in the number 111 Mustang. John Casey there in the blue Mercedes, hanging tough in the number 78 machine. And Dan Carrillo now in the Porsche. He is the last of our pro drivers. Sure, looking for a quick way around these two so he can maybe go and attack Eric Violet.
Yeah, he's got himself right in the middle of that pack, but he's going to have probably an aggressive Dale Maxwell, seeing an opportunity here with his teammates suffering some unfortunate luck on the opening lap. Maxwell came in the points lead. He'd like to keep that. Right now, he's just got John Casey behind him to have to worry about. So we'll check them out. Meanwhile,
big changes in LMP3 early on, Larry.
We do, yes. As Zach Hebert has now closed that gap. He's right up on them, on the back of Michelle Squirk and Josh Chinsky. So we got a 1, 2, 3 running very tightly together here in LMP3.
Well, and I think the big change there, Larry, is that Chinsky now has assumed the lead from Michelle Squarick. And let's see if we can pull up how that happened.
I believe that was the opening lap.
Yeah, it was. Actually, I think it was on lap 2. Let's take a look here as they come in side pod to side pod, coming into, I guess that's coming into turn 4. As they head around turn 7, one of the wider sections of the track here.
Yeah, it's
just
that section.
Sticking to the inside gets it done.
Yeah, as we were doing the grid before the race started, that's where I was talking about. There's a lot of pavement there to hang yourself if you decide to try and go side by side. And you can see that they're able to, as they're back in that same section of the track right now. It looks like they had a good side by side there, but Josh in the end had the good track position on the correct side to be on for this back and forth, almost sets of pin turns to be able to hold the advantage and keep Michelle at bay. But it did bring Zach Hebert up into the battle now, as they've seemed to have shed Jeff Jacobs and the gang a little further back. These front three, even with a little side-by-side, are running pretty tremendous pace here early on. Already lap times down in the 129s.
Yeah, and not just shed, Larry. Is Jacobs here today and Rutnick was 6 seconds in arrears right now. Let's jump back over to GT4 for AM with Dale Maxwell and John Casey. Casey taking a look underneath the Mustang.
Yeah, he was making an effort there to shove the nose in. I love how the variety of lines here. So with the old configuration, you kind of had to stay low when they made that into this really high banking. Now the line, because you get that great momentum effect on the high side of the banking, a lot of drivers will take that. You can see what it did for Dale Maxwell there, be able to spread the gap now, pulling up a half a second on John Casey running in second. And that's the difference between running that high line versus the low. As the Klimovich had said, they had practiced the wrong configuration. They would have been practicing the old one where it was a much tighter corner.
Much tighter, exactly.
Yeah.
I would call that, and it's going to be the second time tonight that I reference Fernando Alonso. I would call that the Fernando Alonso line, Larry, because the very first time that Formula One had showed up at Zandvoort after a number of years, and they ran this new configuration, almost everybody was taking a late entry into that corner and would then duck down to the inside. And Fernando Alonso, for like the first 2 practice sessions, was the only driver taking the high line, and he'd make up like 3 and 4 car lengths on everybody else going through there. He was the only one who was able to keep the power down. Ooh.
Oh no, we've got more spins. This time it's Doug Klimovich. We thought perhaps would maybe be the one Klimovich that would be untouched in the opening laps, and here we are, 4 laps in, and Doug's having issues in that McLaren.
And the big difference here, Larry, is because it's not wet, he only did a 360.
Yeah,
actually,
this is
not even a 360, only a 180.
Yeah, this is those sets of long duration pin turns you get down to this turn 9 and turn 10. The spin actually looks like it happened down in turn 10. Very difficult to drive and to find an apex. It's just sort of this unmarked massive pavement you have to make your way through, making it very difficult. As we catch back up to the front of the AM field with Maxwell, now it looks like Casey's going to follow him in the same line, both of them taking more on that high in that banking turn 3. And you can see the gap not opening up any further this time. Casey right on the heels.
And welcome back to the chat, Mr. Jordy Fike. Is this where I bring up Johnny Mathis? Yes. I found out this weekend he does covers of West Side Story songs.
Nice.
Anyway,
hey, we've got the leaders in the LMP3s now trying to get through our AM leaders. This could be interesting as Chinsky takes the outside line. Squirk is a little bit more cautious there. Hopefully there's room left for Michelle as the second one through. I don't quite see is Zach Hebert. They may have left him a couple of, maybe a second
he
back.
dropped a little bit further back, Larry. He's about 35 car lengths back.
He got stuck
now.
behind the GT4. So he's got to take his time getting through. as he's got this battle now in front of him of the GT4 AMs. Gets by Casey. Now he's got to figure out what to do with Dale Maxwell. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking, and Chinsky and Squarick are drifting off in the distance.
And that move there, well, not that move, as Heber came through, but when Chinsky and Squarick came through, Larry, I don't know. Well, I know what he was thinking, but we had Dan Carrizo for a moment there was taking a look underneath John Casey to try to get by, just as Chinsky was going on the outside of the Mercedes, and now it looks like Carrizo has managed to get by. Let's take a look and see, but it could have gotten very, very hairy there for a few moments as we had the three GT4 cars, the two LMP3s.
All the way out in the gravel there for Casey. Yeah. So John Casey losing that spot to Carrito, who managed to stay on the inside. But you can see how much gravel's out there. Apparently, John Casey wasn't the first one to visit the outside of the hairpin at 1. Meanwhile, look at the two here. We know how close they were in qualifying. Leo Dragota and Taj Edwards now pulling away from Mike Dam and Travis Schwenke behind them, and they're trying to make this a two-man race as they head through the 11-12 complex. And they've gotten themselves a couple-second advantage on Mike Dam.
And Taj lapped, and so now, you know, with our interview of Mike Klimovich, I'm starting to wonder now whether or not if the practice session during the week was run on the old course, because I was showing that Taj was down as low as a 141.3 during the practice earlier this week, and of course Leo and Taj right now lapping about half a second off of that pace currently. Now, as let's take a look here, as Lucas Dragota might have had in almost the exact same place, Larry.
Yeah, this time it looks like he just kind of ran a little wide, got him out into the gravel at the edge. Luckily, he may have managed to avoid further damage.
Just rage quit, Larry.
Yeah, I think physical damage was not there, but his night was frustratingly
emotional damage
over.
Was high. Yeah.
That's unfortunate because he did have a decent qualifying position. I was looking forward to seeing him running in the race here, but some nights just aren't your nights.
All right, Stephen May Force Racing, David Klimovich on a little bit of a recovery in his McLaren.
Pretty good, because I see a Russ Ruddock shoving his nose down in there, trying to avoid taking the battle out, and Russ gonna take the inside line, which is the slow line. That's how he ends up right back alongside of May, and yeah.
and Klimovich, I think, might have thought that wherever Russ Ruddock was going to go was going to be the faster way around, and that just wasn't the case. All right, Michael Klimovich now returns 4 laps down, but looks like he might have had some issues once again. Oh, I'm sorry, it was Doug Klimovich that had some issues. Let's take a look at Doug.
Rough night for the slow bros so far. Yeah.
So many issues.
You can see this is through that turn 3, and the back end is just so loose on that car. We have to put security guards around our director tonight as he continues to show
he doesn't failings. Have an ISO cam on them, so
yeah, he continues to show the failings of the slow bros tonight. You can thank Jonathan for that one, but that's okay. We'll protect him.
Sorry, Christine. If you feel the need to dox him, we'll get you some more information.
All right, so a couple of battles still happening at the front of each of the respective GT classes. In fact, all 3 classes. Here's the Dragota Edwards. It does look like Mike Dam's close up just a little bit here. Maybe using some of the draft off of LMP3 or used some traffic, but he's close up just a little.
Yeah, a couple tenths.
We'll see if Jeff Jacobs can help him a little bit, maybe by dive bombing in front of these two and slowing them down. That's not really Jeff Jacobs' MO, but hey, you know what?
You never know.
Jeff's going to try and burn by at least one of them here. Going into turn 13, he only gets the first. He gets Edwards. Now he's got to figure out a way around Leo Dragota. Jeff being way too patient. And then we'll see if Mike Dam's able to do anything with that. We'll check back up with them in a minute as we head to the leaders in LMP3. Josh Chinsky, Michelle Squirk continued this battle that's been going since the green flag dropped. And they have come up on a Klimovich, and tonight that's not always the best thing to hear.
Oh my.
You know, sometimes when things are just having a bad night, you just want to avoid those folks and let them have a bad night by themselves.
Maybe there's a puddle that we just didn't see. Some little
So
Dutch
much
kid
gravel.
with a bucket of sand.
So much gravel on the track right now, especially down in that 11-12 chicane section. They've just pulled all the gravel up and makes it very slippery. And it is realistic. It's not just there for graphics. You drive on it, you will lose grip. They've gotten very realistic in the sim when it comes to bringing debris back on the track.
As they head down into turns 2 and the next hairpin at turn 3.
So I wonder at this point if Michelle Squirk now can start thinking about trying to save some fuel and trying to do some sort of an undercut overcut where maybe her fuel stop could be shorter than her teammate / rival Josh. Make Josh cut the air in front. Maybe she could do a little bit of slipstream fuel saving behind.
Yeah, now the pit window for these cars, Larry, somewhat short once again. It's spanning maybe about 3 laps. We suspect that the window is going to open up somewhere around, from the looks of it, it was going to be somewhere in the, this isn't right. Yeah, it is. So somewhere between lap 24 and 27. So we've still got a long way to go, it appears.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have some very late pit stops here tonight. The GT4 car is very compressed, only about a lap, 2 laps long. We expect for them to come in somewhere around lap 22, and that is a good 11 laps from now.
Yeah. Well, I thought for a moment there that Leo Dragota was about to drop out of that to get himself ahead of the draft zone, ahead of his teammate Taj Edwards. Taj, though, looks like he's closed him right back in and now finds himself only half a second behind the race leader, Leo Dragota. Meanwhile, Mike Dam is still a little over a second back from Taj. Dam also was hoping to sniff a little bit of draft off the back of his teammate, Taj Edwards, not to be yet, but it's still early. And
and Dam's picking up about a 10th per lap on Edwards and Dragota ahead.
Yeah, he's definitely going to keep it interesting here, as it seems Travis Schwenke not able to keep the pace going. There's a little more gravel there in the middle of turn 14. Taj may actually be able to take advantage of this, as that gravel seemed to hit Leo just at the wrong spot. Not going to make a move, though, yet for Taj. Just going to give us the old kiss cam right there on the front of Taj Edwards. Just touching the bumper there at the back of Leo Dragota.
And that's interesting there, Larry, just as he feeds in through the hairpin at turn 1. As you can see there, maybe back to throttle a little bit earlier than Leo Dragota, and Dragota not able to power away, that he's actually entering a little slower and then a little bit later to get back to throttle as well. And I think it's doing Taj well. But I think it's also, I think that might, and I'm not saying that it's just that one corner, but I think that is somewhat indicative of how Dragota's been driving this, and maybe doing a little fuel saving from the front. But it's also, I think, what's also pulling Mike Dam back into this fight.
It may be. I just like watching sometimes the strength and weaknesses lap to lap, or even trends with the driver, that some drivers are better. As you say, perhaps Taj Edwards doing a better job of getting the nose of the car down and rotating it into that turn 1 hairpin, getting a better exit, as we had seen. But there's other spots where I think Leo is getting a little bit better run. I think through the 9-10 complex, Leo may be a little bit quicker. Even coming out of the turn 3 banked hairpin, he seems to be a little better. But this, look at all the gravel on the track there through 14, and Leo and Taj continuing that trend of pulling that gravel on the track.
Only thing missing are the orange smoke bombs. All right, let's jump back over to GT4 AM, Larry, and Dale Maxwell with, and that's Eric Violette's Porsche just ahead. Violette now sitting in 6th position in Pro, and a number of seconds back from Robert Schwenkler at this point.
Well, Eric had messaged you and I before the race started tonight and said he really didn't have any chance to get any practice in. He was just about to go get a couple laps in, knew that he'd be off the pace. And you can see that here, not able to challenge any of the Orions up for the front 4. And now, even though it looks like Maxwell did put in the practices, he's got a good chance to really chase down this portion. I like the way this Mustang drives personally, like the way it digs out of corners. On a track like this, if you can get those positive digs, you can use some of these straightaways to really make up ground. The question will be, can he overtake maybe on the front straight or maybe even down into the turn 7 and 8 area? As we got a sliding LP3, that's Michelle Squarick going real wide. Dan Carrito also off in the background. This is going to open up the lead now for Josh Chinsky, as Squarick may have gotten caught up in that traffic.
Zach Hebert now moves up in the 2nd place as he goes around the outside of Squarick.
Yeah, she may have just gotten caught up in a bit of that traffic there. She was coming up on the GT4s. Sometimes take a bit of an offline, get yourself out of rhythm, cause that car to slide. Let's see if we can catch that replay. Should be just a moment. We'll catch that as she continues to work her way through the traffic here in turn 10. Now just about a second or so behind Zach Hebert. Here is the replay, though. She's the trailing of these two cars. There's the bumps. That's the same bump we saw Lucas Tragoda catch.
Yeah, exactly.
Earlier.
Right at the apex there, popping over the white line where there's a huge bump. And she, as the rear end comes around on her, she gets into Dan Carrillo. Carrillo really didn't have any way to avoid that. And you can see he's not the happiest of campers right now.
No, definitely not. As she just had to get back on track, but she got herself recovered here. Now she's got to work on catching back up to Hebert. It's about 2.5 seconds back from him. As Zach, the Echelon Sim Sport driver, now sitting top 2 in LMP3.
Yeah, but indeed, that gives a lot of breathing room now to Josh Chinsky, who just a few moments ago had Michelle Squarick right on the back diffuser of that car, and now has almost 7 seconds on the rest of the LMP3 field.
Yeah, sometimes that luck just pays off. Now he's got to be careful to be clean and be smooth, and also watch the traffic. Did a good job there when he gotten around the AM leader, Dale Maxwell, and of course Eric Violette, so he managed to clear them. But as he comes up on more traffic, that'll be key tonight in these battles. You watch the 7-second gap, 3 seconds to Squarick. Let's see if that changes as traffic flows through.
All right, here's wow, and you can just see how that McLaren bounds over the curbs. This is David Klimovich now challenging John Casey, who had been leading early on in GT4 AM, challenging him now for 2nd in class.
Very different lines there on board with David, watching how he was really tight mid-apex for that turn 10. It's just a little bit different line there for Casey. Managed to get a pretty decent exit, did Casey, but just watching the two of them now trying to chase down the pro class driver up there, Dan Carrito.
They come down into turn 1, and Larry, it does that McLaren, the way it's literally bounding over the curbing, a lot of rebound dialed into, at least on the right hand shock pass side of the car. Wow.
Oh, that McLaren looks so tail happy though. We've already seen Doug go around a couple of times. Even watching David here, the car's got a lot of tail slide through some of these corners. I just worry perhaps that their setup may not be optimal, especially if they were in fact running the older configuration. That could change. What the good thing is though, he's getting better corner exits. The problem is it's hard to use them here. He's got to really maybe work on forcing Casey into a really bad exit as they approach a corner, and then he can use these strong exits to his advantage. Looks like he may be making a move here, though, going into 7.
Indeed, Larry, as they come into turn 7. Good run out of the little sweeps out at 4, 5, and 6. And it looked like he was going to be able to get the pass done, but then that rear end, as Jeff Jacobs comes through, starts to step out, and you can see the problem actually getting the power down on those McLarens, on the longer sweepers.
Yeah, and he's trying to hold the position here. If he can, he's got a good chance now to throw the car through 11 to 12 with the full car length in front. Looks like he did, but that was so close. As you said, sometimes those mid-corner slides in that mid-engine McLaren really do come back to bite you. It looks like the Mercedes is doing a pretty good job of getting the power down effectively, but now you can see the overall pace, though, for David seems to just be a little bit better for him as he gets a great run now from 13-14 down the front straight.
All right, let's jump back over to Pro, Larry, and to Orion Porsches. Leo Dragota, Taj Edwards. Looks like where we left them just a few moments ago as they're running in the mid 42s, and still Mike Dam, he's clipping off. I was wondering, John, if we could throw up the graphic and see what the delta is per lap on Dam compared to Edwards.
It seems Dan's been hovering, but there you can see he'll lose a little bit, like that 3/10 loss, then he'll gain it back up in the following laps. He'll bring it back together, and that may be things like what we're seeing here with Squirk now trying to find her way through the leaders here. Yeah, it's the traffic, and that you can see is already helping Mike Dam, and it's going to help keep Taj Edwards on the heel of Dragota as well.
All right, heading to the pit lane now, Larry. Michelle Squarick, she is the first of our LMP3 racers to pit. And, well, again, I'm seeing this as possibly being a little bit earlier than I would expect. I would have thought that she'd maybe be out there for another 7 or 8 minutes before heading to the pit lane, but she is the first.
Well, this may be good for her if she can get some good track position and just sort of hit reset. Sometimes a mental reset can be done through a well-timed pit stop. So she had her big spin. She had her moment. The race isn't over yet, so she's still got a chance. We'll keep the eye on the gap to specifically to Zach Hebert in that second spot. She was a couple seconds back when she came into the pits. There she is coming back out right in front of. This is good for her, able to clear Justin from her. Her pit crew did a great job of giving her the right spot to come out of the pits in front of this battle of your AM leader behind Eric Violette in the D2D portion.
And she's got a decent amount of clear track ahead of her, giving her some time to get some heat back in the rear tires. So you can see how much Mike Dam once again tightening things up last time around. Actually, identical lap time.
This lap though that they're on.
Time.
Yeah, the lap that they're on right now, I think Dam has certainly closed up the gap a little bit, and I think Edwards did too. I wonder if Dragota early in the lap had a bit of a mistake, allowing the two behind to start to close up a little bit. And you can see now certainly Edwards within the draft zone behind Dragota, and now it looks like Mike Dam might be sniffing a little bit of Porsche draft as well in the third spot. So things are tightening here at the front of the Orion field.
Yeah, as he took another 2/10 off of the two ahead.
Yeah. A little tighter line there, as you can see. Taj all the way across that outer white painted line. For Mike Dam, though, kept all four inside of that line. Just a little subtle differences in their line choices through that turn 3. Look at this. This is as tight as it's been probably in the last 15 laps, with Mike Dam now right on the heels of Taj Edwards.
As they come heavy under braking down into turn 8. Wow, look at how the car lifted up the inside wheels there on Mike Dam's number 93 car. Wow.
Yeah, that was an aggressive attack of the curb there for Dam. managed to keep the car flowing very well, though. Didn't really seem to bother the car, which is almost surprising. And we've seen that before, that the Porsches in some races tend to be okay on the curbs. Perhaps maybe not as good as maybe the Mercedes or the Mustang, but they seem tonight to be pretty well behaved.
Yeah. And in this section right here, coming into turn 11, and then again the hairpin at turn 12, the shorter wheelbase I think does them very well. That they get rotated very well there, Larry, and are able to get the power back down. As well, we can see here is the next non-Porsche is probably Robert Schwenkler sitting back in fifth, almost 20 seconds in arrears.
Yeah. Also, just noting that the last time by in LMP3, Zach Heber actually set quickest lap of the race in a 29.2, and now has closed the gap to 4 seconds behind Josh Chinsky. Josh may have run into some traffic there, but Zach taking it to his advantage and setting his personal quickest lap and the overall quickest lap of the race to close that gap. Now, if Michelle Squirk's already done her pit stop, she's not turning fastest laps of the race, so it's a well-timed performance out of Hebert. Well, that's going to help him try and hold that position when it is time for him to make his stop. Take a look at Josh Chinsky ducking underneath one of the GT4 cars through that apex at 13 and to get a good run out of 14 down the front straight again.
I'd be concerned, Larry, over in the YouTube chat, cheering on Zach Hebert is somebody named Binning it.
True. That might be why he's in the chat and not in the race.
And not behind the wheel of the car, yeah. Makes for a good race engineer and not a good racer, yeah.
Well, Dan Carrito has done a pretty good job of catching up to this group. Remember, Carrito was one of the cars who was off in the gravel with one of our spins we'd seen earlier. He managed to make that up. Now he's right behind your AM leader, Dale Maxwell, but Carrito is probably more interested in the Eric Violette Porsche, just a car or two in front of him. That would be the position he's looking for. Violette certainly is currently is 6th in Pro, Carrito in 7th.
Yeah, and in doing so, I think with Maxwell pulling him along, they've made up about 8 seconds on Eric Violette since the start of the race here. So good run there, and good opportunity for Violette. As Carrito now is going to take a look to the inside on Dale Maxwell.
And Josh Chinsky's got nowhere to go but to wait for this to play out in front of him. This is going to help Hebert, who's quickly closing. There's nobody in front of Hebert. Well, he did apparently still have a John Casey in front of him, but didn't work out too badly as Hebert pulls another 2 seconds up into the lead there of Chinsky. Chinsky just finally clearing the pack of GT4s, but not before Zach Hebert is now only 1.6 seconds back, and he's able to draft the GT4s. Dan Carrito comes into the pits. All kinds of action here in his last minute and a half.
All right, so as you mentioned, Dan Carrito coming into the pits, pitting in from 7th in Pro, and Larry, David Klimovich, John Casey, they're right there now with Dale Maxwell as they were all working through the traffic, and as I think maybe Maxwell is getting bottled up a little bit behind the Porsche of Eric Violette.
Yeah, we know that obviously Eric Violette's one of our more experienced drivers in the series. He's won a lot of races in his days. Tonight, he knows he just didn't have the pace, but what he is good at is basic race strategy. He knows how to keep his car in the right position, not to give up easy spots. He's doing a great job right now holding off the Mustang of Dale Maxwell. Now, I wonder here, knowing the slow bros are teammates technically, will David seek an opportunity to duck underneath Dale and to maybe try to make his own move on the Porsche of Violette, and then know that Dale and Klimovich and the McLaren
now
take
I think we know the answer, Larry.
Well, watch the lines as they go through 10. You can see a wide entry for Klimovich is going to be an opportunity. There it is. That Mustang, though, so strong.
Larry, Jonathan Grabowski almost called the pit maneuver before it happened. We would have had that 2 weeks in a row.
Come on, it's the slow bros here. It's not D2D.
That's true.
Hey, Bobby, wherever you're at.
Racing.
Well, shout out to Bobby.
They'd be beating on each other's doors for 6 corners.
They're not even D2D. Those guys are the Rockefeller racing drivers. They definitely race with no limits, no team orders there. But I think here in Slow Bros, there's at least a respectful assumption. Very different lines, though, between the Mustang and the McLaren.
All right, well, Larry, we are up at the top of the hour, and I think we're still a little bit shy of getting into the pit window for our GT4 cars. So why don't we take a quick break? Thanks to our partners and sponsors. When we come back, we'll see all the pit action, and we'll take everybody to the checkered flag here at Zandvoort, where you're watching round number 7 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sports Car Challenge. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
And welcome back to Zandvoort. It's round number 7 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sports Car Challenge. And Larry...
Oh, it's getting hot. It's getting hot in here. I can tell you that.
It is. So our GT4 cars have started their pit cycles. We saw the BMW of Stephen May leave the pit lane just as our overall leader, Josh Chinsky, was trying to work his way through the front of our GT4 Pro field. And I'm fairly certain I saw a car off on the side of the track as well. And I think that might have been part of the Klim Club, Larry.
It looks like it. Maybe, Doug, this is the replay of maybe how it happened as he goes through, and again, that car is so tail happy for him. It has not been his night. That's through the turn through too. He's trying to just stay out of the way, but as you can see, the leaders of GT4 is coming through at the same time the race leader was coming through. He felt it was better to just park it and get a good spectator seat for that whole parade that came on through.
Well, and now he has now joined another Klimovich on the pit lane. We've got both David and Doug there. I mean, it's like a Klim Club meeting there, right by the garages. And,
Christine pulled them aside and said, "Guys, what are you doing?" She pulled them all in the pits, have a little huddle with them.
Well, it's been a long huddle, Larry, because David's been there for 2.5 minutes. And
speaking of a huddle in the pits, it's
we'll get to that
turn.
later. As Mike, or not Mike Dam, but Taj Edwards was looking, I think, to pass Leo Dragota before they got to the control line.
Real quick, who has the shortest pit stop? My guess is Mike Dam.
Mike Dam, I'm sure.
That's my guess. I don't know. I know he's had to work hard to catch back up, but he's such a, as Jordy says in the chat, such a fuel miser. How many liters of fuel will go into this Canadian's car here? Will it be a few less liters? All their tire
come down
changes
off
are
the
done.
jacks at about the same time, Larry.
And let's see who moves
The fuel
first.
still going in.
Nobody's moving yet. Taj Edwards moves
Edwards.
first. And it's a drag race.
It's going to be a NASCAR drag race to the line. And there
And
you
it's
go.
gonna
Taj
be-
Edwards
Yep.
takes over the position as they're going to be heading out on cold tires.
And this will be interesting is who has the guts on cold tires to really push it. You can see there Jagoda sliding through turn 2, sliding through turn 3. He's just going to embrace the slide and hope to give it his best. Meanwhile, Mike Dam slipped just a little further back, but what a move for Taj Edwards. He must have been the one saving fuel behind his young teammate there for those first 20 laps or so. Great opportunity for Taj to now take the lead of this race. Now he's got to be mistake-free. The question is, can he? Because we know Jagoda is so good at jumping on opportunities. Taj needs to be perfect. Meanwhile, I believe Zach Hebert also came in and did his pit stop.
Yes, he did.
In LMP3, so he's shown us 41 seconds down from Chinsky, but Chinsky is yet to make his stop, as has Jeff Jacobs, also pending to make a stop. Now, Skorik, we saw her make hers, and look at that 18 seconds difference from Hebert to Skorik. That shows you the pace of Hebert over this middle third of the race, that he was able to open that up, because when Michelle had her spin, they were actually pretty close when she recovered. So it's been a huge opportunity here for Hebert. Now with his pit stop in, all he can do is wait for Josh Chinsky to take his stop.
That's right. And Chinsky, with the fuel levels going down, getting much lighter, just reset fast lap of the race. And Larry, he is lapping almost a full second faster than Zach Hebert. But then again, Hebert's got a full tank of fuel there in his Ligier.
Yeah. And probably getting those tires up to temp and all those things. But Chinsky's going to stay out at least another lap, as he just reset fastest lap of the race, 29.2 for Josh Chinsky last time around.
We jump back over to GT4 Pro. Taj Edwards, our new leader, Leo Dragoda, Mike Dam, as they make their way through some of the slower traffic. They get around Greg Brockway's number 62 Mercedes, and they've got a little bit of clean running here for at least a couple of corners. I think the next car up ahead is actually an LMP3 car moving away from them.
Yeah, just watching their lines and watching how they almost drift these cars through that turn 9 and turn 10. Slow, but wide hairpins. Just have to do it right every single time. It takes so much patience to wait on the throttle and to wait for the car to do its rotation. It's so certainly not the type of place where you can be very aggressive as a driver.
Yeah, well, exactly. And, as we watch there, as they get to that apex curb at 11 and pop over, and then immediately have to switch back to the hairpin over at turn 12, and they really have to just kind of sit and wait for the car to square up and land from what is probably the tallest curb on the circuit. Again, those cars, they rotate really well. Here, coming down the pit lane now, Larry, it is Josh Chinsky who pits in from the lead.
It's going to be close. It's going to be very close for Chinsky. We'll see what kind of fuel load he's able to put in. We're going to keep our eye on Zach Hebert. Zach was about, as you can see on the screen there, about 43 seconds back. There is Zach just now coming into the 11-12 complex there. He'll head down to our series of right-handers. Chinsky, meanwhile. Yeah. The Kumo Bach, the Ari Leyendyk Bach. And then Chinsky is now done. He's heading back out. Zach Hebert's on the straightaway. They'll meet each other somewhere on the other side of turn 1. How close
it's going to be close, Larry, especially if Chinsky took tires. And you can see there, even as the rear end kind of swings out as he's leaving the pit lane.
Now the question is for Chinsky, how quickly can he warm them up, and how can Zach Hebert take advantage while he's got the warm tires to close this in? It's going to be Chinsky in the lead. How close can Hebert get on this outlap?
Yeah, we'll see. The difference was about 4 seconds, Larry, as Chinsky came onto the pavement, and the gap doesn't seem to be dropping all that. Well, I was going to say it doesn't seem to be dropping all that much. Now it is down to about 3.3 seconds.
Meanwhile, this battle continues, and yes, we have the pass. Taj Edwards did a great job at his pit stop to make sure he came out in front of young Leo, who led every lap up to that point. But if you're Mike Dam and you did all that work, you caught up, now you're third of these three behind two of your teammates, you know how hard this place is to pass. But for Mike, he doesn't just have to make one pass, he's got to make two. So he needs to make one as soon as he can. Any mistake for Dragotta, Mike Dam has to make him pay. Uh-oh, we've got incident happening here.
Michelle Squirt's issues seem to continue here tonight as she's now dropped almost 25 seconds back. Let's take a look as she goes in side by side with Dan Carrillo, comes up on John Casey's Mercedes. They get through, and just as she's trying to thread the needle and comes up on a lot of that gravel on the outside there, and the car goes around. That was what, over 3?
Yeah, you get in the rhythm of that corner to continue and try and rotate the car just right. Well, she had taken a bit of out of rhythm move. She ducked to the inside, didn't get on the brakes early enough, and the car went around and lost it. Meanwhile, your leader in GT4 M has changed. It is now John Casey.
Yeah, this is a big surprise, Larry, because Stephen May had a very long pit stop compared to both John Casey and Dan Carrillo. Casey, or probably Stephen May, or probably not Stephen May. I'm talking about Dale Maxwell in the 111 Mustang.
Now,
almost 10 seconds longer than John Casey.
Yeah, Maxwell's closing quickly after that issue appeared to be in the pit stops for him, and there you can see him. He's right on the heels of Stephen May, and I suspect Maxwell is going to dispatch of May relatively quickly because he then has to work his way up the road and try and catch John Casey. So could be a bit of a challenge here for the Mustang driver, but he's had really good pace tonight. He's shown a lot of patience in the battles that he had while he was following Eric Violette for so long. I suspect Maxwell now won't be following him for much longer. He's going to have to make some aggressive moves to get around May to have a shot at John Casey. And there's the move. He's going to duck to the inside. Just enough. May didn't take the bait.
No, May shut the door on him.
Yeah, a good move for May. I mean, that's what you got to do. Stay defensive here. He's going to make sure that Maxwell can't duck the inside going into these chicanes here at 10 and 11. 11 and 12, excuse me.
11 and 12, yeah.
Maxwell may be thinking he has to get a run off at 13 because that essentially leads you all the way down with the hairpin at 1. A little bit missing the apex there for May. This is Maxwell's opportunity. Maxwell's going to try to use a little bit of draft. I think he's going to have a chance here. Does May block the inside?
No, he shifts over about a half car width, but he's not going to be able to hold that for very long as the Mustang now layer on the brakes, Larry, and comes down to the apex right underneath. Good move, May has a little trouble putting down the power on the exit of the turn.
Yeah, great move from Maxwell. Took care of that. Saw the opportunity with Stephen May going wide there at 13. Did not get the exit run. For Dale Maxwell, he does get the run, and now he moves himself to second place in AM. Now he's got to focus. He's got 3.5 seconds to catch John Casey for the lead in that class. Meanwhile, nothing's changed here at the front of GT4 Pro. It's still the same Edwards, Dragotta, and Dam. Again, it's getting down to that point where if you're Mike Dam, you've got to start making one move so you have a chance to make two.
And Larry, it does look as though Taj Edwards is managing to open up until we got over here. But Edwards had been opening up and lapping at least a couple hundredths and sometimes a tenth of a second or so faster than Leo Dragotta. And I kind of get the feeling, and I saw this before when Dragotta was leading the race, and there's a look as far as the deltas in LMP3 with Zach Hebert. Making up ground made up about 1.2 seconds in the last 2 laps, and he's definitely coming. But over in GT4 Pro, I get the feeling that we might see more pace from Mike Dam if it weren't for Leo Dragotta. And I just
it's hard to say. Right now, obviously he's kind of stuck. We talk about the space all the time, how difficult it is to pass. He may just be struggling with that right now, and just trying to find the right place to go by. If he had any pace to spare, he'd use it. But I have a feeling that these three drivers are very equally talented, as well as the equal equipment. But that was a nose-to-tail touch there as Dragotta got to the back of Edwards coming out of turn 12, and did change
now,
the
Larry,
order at all, but here come the leaders in LMP3.
Exactly, Larry. Josh Chinsky and Zach Hebert. Hebert is there now as they're following, that's, I believe, Panhirde up ahead of them, that they're about to put a lap down. But that also gave a lot of buffer to Taj Edwards, that after there was that contact, you could see where Dragota checked up just as the two LMP3 racers decided to slot through.
And keep an eye on this, because now you've got Panhirde right in front of those GT4 leaders, and I think he may have even pulled back in front once the two LMP3 leaders got by. The GT4 leaders are going to have to get their way around him. All right, so it looks like he managed to get accelerating enough that he's going to stay ahead of the GT4 battle, but things are getting tight back there. I thought maybe it presents an opportunity for Mike Dam now, perhaps to Edwards with a bit of a gap, but I think having the slow recovering Panhirde in front of them may have brought those GT4 cars back together.
I'll tell you, the back of Chinsky's car is looking more loose and more loose as time goes on here, Larry. Lot of slip in some of these sweepers on entry. The car, he does seem to get the car straightened up on exit, but I think it's definitely affecting his exit speed.
Yeah, there may be a little bit difference in setups here. You may be seeing Chinsky running a little less aero downforce, which may be hurting some of that. You're seeing that tail sliding, but it's going to help him once they come off of this banking on the straightaway. He's going to have a better top speed. We'll see if that how it plays out. Meanwhile, Casey just goes off, and we got a return to the leader now in Dale Maxwell to the top spot in GT4 AM.
All right, let's take a look. This will be the second time that we've seen John Casey with an issue as they come down under braking into turn 1. And the car, you see it, the nose drop going under braking, but I think he got the braking, spent a little more time, Larry, looking in the mirrors at Dale Maxwell behind him, and just got onto the binders maybe 4 or 5 feet too late.
Yeah, the Freedom Sport driver just missed that braking point. Doesn't take much. It just takes a couple of feet, and you're going to find yourself all the way out in the gravel on the outside of one, which is exactly what he did. Now, he's going to hang on to that second spot because he's got Stephen May hotly coming at him. So keep your eye on Casey trying to hang on to that P2 position. Meanwhile, Hebert is going to continue to throw the kitchen sink at Josh Chinsky. And if Chinsky does, in fact, have to slide this car around a little more, I think Hebert's going to want to make Chinsky use up those rear tires, force that car to really work, and then perhaps be able to make a move as we get into the last 15 minutes. We're still only at 51 minutes out of 75. There's a lot of racing left. And Hebert, as you had said, maybe looks a little more stable at this stage if Chinsky's got a lot of slide happening. Oh, traffic, that's May. This may be the opportunity for Hebert. Defensive position for Chinsky, though. But they're going to catch traffic going into 1, and it's a draft for Hebert. Are we going to have a new leader in LMP3?
Chinsky moves to the inside to try and defend there as they're going to be coming up on John Casey, and he's going to try to use Casey as a pick to hold Hebert behind. And Larry, that could not have worked out any better for Josh Chinsky.
Oh, that was magic watching Chinsky set that up. He took the inside line, forced Hebert to go outside, and then uses Casey as a pick to ensure that, but now they're going side by side, dump the back straight here through the 4, 5, 6 S's, and Hebert now with a nose ahead as they head down towards turn 7.
And here's where
Hebert's
going to have to go from the outside. Big wiggle from him as he tries to get the car turned in as they come up on slower traffic and have to poke to the inside. They put Jeff Jacobs a lap down, and now Dan Carrido goes to the apex, and Josh Chinsky gets bottled up behind the Carrido Porsche.
Not yet. Look at this. Chinsky, beautiful move there. I thought same thing you were thinking, that he was going to get stuck behind Carrido. Didn't happen, but now they get equal exits. It's on the inside is Chinsky, the outside is Hebert as they go down into 11. The inside line with the advantage. Oh, nearly made contact.
Big slide from Chinsky going in. Oh, my.
Oh, so close. And of course, you had Jeff Jacobs in the middle of all that on equal speed as these two, but he had to get himself ducked out of the way. Now as they go down the straightaway again, we'll see if there's draft. But let's watch this from overhead one more time as they come out of that 10 and head down towards the 11, 12. And you thought maybe Hebert was far enough ahead. Late on the brakes for Chinsky, holds the position.
Yeah, and that is one corner, Larry, where you could not sweep around from the outside.
And they're doing it again. This time out of one. Hebert not able to really do much here, but now he's going to have the outside of the bowl. He's going to force Chinsky down the inside. Here comes the slingshot. There goes Hebert.
There it is.
Oh, beautiful setup for Hebert to be able to hold that position on that right side of the track coming out of 2 to give him that slingshot off the banking. Now it's Chinsky's turn to try and stay on Hebert and put the pressure on, try and get this lead back. Great stuff. Beautiful battle here for the lead in LMP3.
Amazing sequence there, Larry. And so Hebert, who has been the faster of the 2 drivers since the pit cycle, we'll see here if he can continue to move away. But as we've seen, some of this GT4 traffic is playing a large part in our LMP3 race. They do have some clear pavement ahead, however.
Yeah, I don't think this is now a runaway for Hebert. I think Chinsky's got the pace to hang with him, so we'll check back in a minute. Meanwhile, we haven't looked at is what's going on here. The battle for seconds seems to be the hot point in GT4 Pro. Is Edwards now over a second ahead of Dragota for second? This is going to help Mike Dam. It takes away any little bit of draft, perhaps that young Dragota may have been feeling behind Edwards. Now Dam, mano y mano, has to start looking for this opportunity here with now less than 20 minutes to go.
While we watch this, Larry, I guess this would probably be a good time for us to take a look at some of the point standings here across our 3 classes. Why don't we start off with GT4 Pro here, where, again, Leo Dragota took the win 2 weeks ago in the wet at the Red Bull Ring, and it is Leo Dragota with 5 wins on the season. And look at that now, a 40-point advantage on teammate Mike Dam. Dam, if he can get around Dragota, would make up some of that, but I think with just one more round in the championship after this, it's going to be very tough for either Mike Dam or Ken Copeland, for that matter, from the wrong stuff to challenge Dragota for the win. Over in GT3 AM, again, Dale Maxwell 2 weeks ago took the win, and he is your points leader. 227 points, so 12-point advantage now over David Klimovich, and with both David's, Michael's, and Doug's issues here this evening, Larry, and Dale Maxwell getting back around John Casey. That is going to really open things up for him as we go into the final round. And then finally, over in LMP3, Josh Chinsky now running in second position. He has a pretty substantial lead there. What's that, 24 points over Michelle Squarick, with Russ Ruddock running third in the championship. Zach Hebert, who joined us mid-season for Echelon Sim Sport, considerably further back, over 100 points back, now in 6th position in the championship. He should, I think, be able to clear Jeff Jacobs after tonight. Wow, that was tight. And I think Chinsky now throwing caution to the wind, trying to get past some of these GT4 cars, Larry.
Yeah, these guys are absolutely flying right now, aiming into the 29s. Those are quick laps in an LMP3 here around Zandvoort. And so Chinsky does have to throw everything at it. He can't hold on to any of that pace as we get down to the last 15 minutes or so. Hebert has shown since the pit stops to be the quickest driver on track. So Chinsky's got his work cut out for him. Almost has to hope there's some more traffic to make it a little bit more interesting in his battle for the lead.
All right, well, as they cross the line and complete lap number 38, margin just under a second separating Zach Hebert and Josh Chinsky. And that last time by, Hebert picked up another 1/10 of a second on Chinsky's. Again, once we hit the pit cycles, and he may have put in a little bit less fuel in the car than Josh Chinsky also, but has shown to be a little bit faster than the 511 car lap on lap.
Well, this will get interesting. If Zach's at all close on fuel, he may have to do a little bit of saving on the closing laps. See if he can do that. Meanwhile, they're trying to aggressively get around one of our BMWs. It may have been Ryan Haley, I think, that they just went by. Ryan doing all he can to just pretend to be a tree off on the side that nobody notices. Does not want to be a part of the LMP3 battle for the lead. Next, they've got Travis Schwenke, who is running a distant but still 4th place in GT4 Pro. If it wasn't for the 3 teammates, Schwenke would be dominating this race, as he's got about a 12-second advantage.
If you got rid of the first 3 cars, he'd be dominating.
Hey, you know, you got to do whatever math helps your mental state.
I know.
The 3 here, though, for Orion, so quick every single week, and they're so evenly matched, and this is where it shows. You had one little mistake for Jagoda, and he falls back a little bit from Edwards. Damn, not faster enough than Jagoda to take advantage of it, and they basically have to stay in line because this track is so tough to pass on when you've got equal cars, likely in equal setups, and very equally talented drivers.
Yeah, and we saw that just a few moments ago in that battle for the lead in LMP3, where it essentially took 3/4 of a lap to get a pass made. And we still have, though, Larry, 25 minutes remaining
15,
here.
But, you know,
oh,
math,
15.
Math.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's a 75-minute race. Not a 95-minute race. Yeah.
Do we need a sundial? It's clock we're looking at. Do we need a sundial to help you?
This whole daylight savings time thing, man, throwing me off.
Yes, because daylight savings time is the difference between 25 minutes and 15 minutes left in the race.
Exactly.
Meanwhile,
yes,
it is. I don't think they celebrate daylight savings. I don't think they recognize daylight savings time in the Netherlands.
It's not one of the most celebrated holidays, Larry.
It is in my world.
Yeah, but you know where you live when it's dark 6 months out of the year.
We're lucky to get 6 months. All right. Meanwhile, Chinsky now has fallen further back. 1.2 seconds is Zach Hebert's advantage.
And again, Larry, I think, and yes, I think the setup on Chinsky's car, much more loose setup, but I think, frankly, the rear tires on that car are starting to go away a little bit, and weren't helped any by the close fight that both he and Hebert had. But let's see here as they're coming up on the 3 Orion racers. This might be Chinsky's best last chance with
this is going to be
less than
close.
15 minutes to catch up.
Hebert really pushing to get past Taj Edwards, and he does, but really great opportunity for Chinsky to close up as he managed to get kind of a 2-for-1 deal with both Taj Edwards and Leo Jagoda. So now Chinsky really needs to stay underneath the rear wing there of Hebert. He's got to find an opportunity, and they're never going to come easy. He's got more traffic ahead, though. This could be opportunities now for Chinsky. Looks like John Casey in front of him. And then Stephen May just ahead of them. As it looks like our Orion battles have closed it up a little bit as Jagoda and Dam have found the back of Taj Edwards once more.
And Larry, I think Dan Carrillo, who's had his challenges here tonight, he takes his car to the pit lane, and I think he may have found himself on the short side of fuel as he takes a very quick stop, splash and go, 8 seconds in the box, and he is now coming back out on course.
Meanwhile, these 3 are just putting on quite the battle. Look at the slingshot now for Jagoda. This is a good exit there at 3. The question is, can he do anything with it? And he's got, I think it's John Casey right in front of him. Jagoda can't go anywhere because this section of the track just weaves left and right, left and right.
He's got John Casey behind, and he's got the LMP3 car of Jeff Jacobs, the number 38 machine, just off their flank.
Well, here's his opportunity. Can Casey slow up Edwards just enough? Is there a move to the inside? Nope. He's going to try the outside. for Jagoda. That's not going to get it done. What about Mike Dam? Can he do something here with both of these two in front of him fighting over the same real estate? Oh, my money's on Mike Dam. He's got a great exit of 10.
And Jeff Jacobs nowhere to go. That's the second time in 4 corners that he just had to get out of the throttle and tuck up underneath one of the Porsches.
These Porsches acting like a Miata race. A little slide there for Jagoda. Mike Dam thought there was an opportunity. I don't think there was. And that might just drop both of them a little further back behind Edwards as they head down towards 13. According to Jordy in the chat, Greg, there's a threat of your mom telling you have to take down your childhood tree fort this weekend. So that's the challenge. Anybody listening in, go ahead and smash that like button. Otherwise,
if it weren't for the fact that I didn't grow up in Charlotte, North Carolina.
You're ruining the fun story.
I know, but I mean, there's some truth. I had it trailered down here. First thing I did when I moved in was to put it back up into one of the biggest maple trees I could find.
Again, a great exit from that banked hairpin for Jagoda. He's right up under the back of Edwards. He's trying to force Edwards into a mistake. Not biting. Edwards really smooth down there through 7 as they head up towards this little kink at 8. Let's see if there's a move to the outside again for Jagoda, or does he try to go inside this time? It'll be, look at Mike Dam, though.
Takes a look to the inside, exactly, trying to follow Taj Edwards through. But Larry, every time they get over to this portion of the course here and things widen out, Dam seemingly gets stuck to driver's right each time the long way around and just cannot get the power down.
I would like him as he comes out of 9, instead of hustling all the way to the right side for 10, and there's contact. Is that Squarick?
That is Michelle Squarick, who spins from 3rd position. I don't know if there was contact with her, Larry.
It looked like there may have been, yeah, with one of the Orions. Let's see what happens if she tries to get in front of them before they get to turn 11. Doesn't quite get there. Edwards doesn't see her coming.
No, yeah,
Luckily, it doesn't disrupt the battle in GT4s, but for Squirk, though, it's been an adventurous night.
Yes, it has. And I don't know if you could lay that on Taj Edwards at all, Larry, as they come down under braking in the 1.
Look at Jagoda. Is it there? Is it on the outside? That banking at 1 helps him a bit. He's going to get the slingshot.
Oh,
and maybe
what
a missed shift.
Move.
Something happened with Edwards. He didn't get the power down there. Mike Dam's going to probably try a duck down the inside here, or maybe pull a slingshot mover on the outside. But we have a new leader in GT4, same as the old leader. It's Leo Jagoda.
And Larry, as you said, there must have been something with Taj Edwards, because it just looked like Dragoda was shot out of a cannon, and that was more because Edwards just did not go. And you can see it here as they come under braking, and they'll rise up and into, hopefully we'll see it here. There it comes.
The roof of the building got in the way of the chopper cam there, unfortunately. But yeah, we're going to get another look at this in a second.
We have to get Jim Cunningham's pilot.
Yeah, but look at under braking. Great job here for Jagoda, at least to force Edwards to stay to the inside. But as they come out of here, you just don't see Edwards. A little bit of slide there, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, so as Edwards stayed down low and tried to just do a rim shot over the curbing there, the rear end did walk out on him a little bit just past the apex.
Yeah, just a hair, and a great opportunity there for Jagoda. Well-executed pass, had the run off of turn 14 all the way down to 1 to start the pass, and then finishes it off. Now with only 7 minutes to go, that's a tough position to get around for either of the other two. But perhaps it's the opportunity now for Mike Dam, as Leo Jagoda is trying to break the draft on the front straight, not wanting to give anything up. Or just wanted to high-five his pit crew there on the wall.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Well, he's getting old now, and maybe his vision is bad. He just couldn't see the pit board.
I mean, you know what that's like, getting old and losing your vision?
Yes, absolutely.
I thought it was your hearing.
That's why I've got 75-inch monitors right in front of me, Larry, to call this race.
It was your hearing you've lost. Okay, back to the battle here is Mike Dam now trying to now do the same thing that Jagoda did, which is to find a way around Taj Edwards. Not going to be easy. We've seen Taj's pace. Taj knows that mistake he just made. Let's see if Mike Dam can correct his mistakes. And I'd say coming out of 8 into 9, he's done well to force his rival to take a bad line coming out of 9. But then going towards 10, it seems Mike Dam doesn't really utilize the advantage he has.
No.
This time he's not able to get inside of there. But I would like to see Mike Dam, next time he gets alongside, force the other driver to stay far, far to the left coming out of 9 so they get a terrible pinch entry into 10. That might be what he needs. He's got a couple more chances at it.
And with just about 6 minutes remaining on the clock, he'll have somewhere around, 4 or 5 laps left to do it.
Yeah, at the most.
Big wiggle once again from Leo Dragota.
Yeah. And in case you're wondering, meanwhile, Dale Maxwell continues to hold a pretty substantial lead there. GT4, John Casey is in 3rd. And Stephen May in 2nd. And then, of course, LMP3. We'll get back to that if we need to. But Zach Hebert really opening up now 2.5 seconds on Josh Chinsky. This is our best battle on track, is the threesome, the leaders here in GT4 Pro. As Stephen Hudak, probably spotting for Josh Chinsky, is now wondering in the chat if Zach has enough fuel. And that will be a question to be answered in the next 6 minutes. And he's got a little bit of time in the bag if he needs to save fuel. But I tell you, his pace doesn't look like he's slowing down at all. So he just came by and turned another.
Last time through, and again, this could be
29.
partially because of traffic, Larry, he did give up a second to Chinsky on the prior lap. This time, though, lapping about 0.3 faster than Josh Chinsky.
Yeah, nearly resetting fastest lap of the race. So Chinsky has that lap at a 29.20, but a 29.36 is nothing to sneeze at here for Zach Hebert. He's got a great pace right now. 5 minutes left on the clock. A couple more laps. Does not look like he's even trying to save fuel, so perhaps he did take enough. Got to work through traffic as he goes around Travis Schwenke. He's got Casey. Boy, that's aggressive passing for Hebert. He's not out there.
But look as Chinsky's coming through, Larry, because Chinsky, he came through a corner and looked for a moment like he was going to be able to split Schwenke and Casey, and things just closed up. He had to take evasive action, going over to the right, and loses a couple tenths of a second. That being said, talking about driving angry, Larry, Michelle Squarick puts her Ligier down into the 128.8s.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for her, just a little too much, a little too late.
Yeah, but she definitely wanted to make her presence known. That's how you do it, to lay those laps down. But as you said, maybe a little too late for her at this stage. While our GT4 Pro battle continues, and look at the slingshot that Dragota continues to get. I'm wondering if Edwards now is thinking he has to play defensive in front of Mike Dam. Dragota gets a great run off of 3 and heads down the S's. See if Mike Dam can get up and try to make a move on Taj Edwards. It's Russ Ruddick. It's going to come through wide now.
Oh, no.
For Leo Dragota.
Runs wide, Larry.
Let's see if this turns into a position. It looks like Edwards is able to have a whole car in front. Mike Dam, though.
And Larry, we've got a big change at the front of our LMP3 field. As Zach Hebert went off track. Josh Chinsky and Hebert right alongside. Chinsky off track as they go and bang side pods. And Chinsky is not happy here, Larry, as we have only 3 minutes remaining.
All right, look, as we were talking about Hebert practically ready to engrave his name on the first place trophy. He gets a little bit loose here, coming into 7 behind Carrito, who actually spins. Hebert recovers. Chinsky now gets alongside. Look, there's one bit of contact there as they go into 8. As they come around towards 9, there's your second contact, third contact, maybe even a fourth one. Unbelievable. Chinsky luckily doesn't spin out, but boy, that got really hairy there for a minute.
Oh my. And Dan Carrito, as the rear end of that car came around, and there was nowhere for Zach Hebert. How he kept the car on the pavement, I don't know. But, wow, got exciting there for a moment. Just as it's exciting here in GT4 with Taj Edwards back to the lead, Leo Dragota and Mike Dam with white flag going to be in the air here for these racers the next time they come across the start-finish line. We did see Michelle Squarick head down to the pit lane shortly, Larry, to take a quick splash of gas. And I think she might have had an issue. She's showing a black flag now as they come past Greg Brockway.
Oh, and Dragotta is going to go down the inside, going in through 9. Edwards is going to hold the outside. Let's see if Mike Dam changes his line. He does. Look at Dam going to stay on the inside. Smart move late in the race here. They're going to try.
First time Mike Dam's done it all night.
Yeah, beautiful time to pull that card out of the deck. Now, he's not able to hold the position, unfortunately, but I love the attempt there. It does keep Edwards in the lead, Dragotta in second, Dam in third, but the fight is on. We think next time by should be white flag for everybody as they've got Hebert just went through. Chinsky's right behind them. And so everyone's going to see white flag all at the same time.
All right, here comes Hebert onto the front straight. And indeed, white flag is in the air, although it looks very blue from here, Larry. As
it may be a blue flag.
Well, actually, yes, it could very well be with the GT4
Look
cars
at this.
over right there.
This looks like the move earlier. Can Edwards correct it? He does. He gets a great exit this time. They'll be side by side as they head towards 2. Dragotta on the left, Edwards on the right. Now they come into the bowl here. I'd want to be on the outside here. Dragotta, look at this.
Dragotta going so deep, Larry, before he turns in and manages to make the slingshot work, goes back to the lead, dropping Taj Edwards in the second. Mike Dam can do nothing but watch.
And that's Amp Leader. That's Dale Maxwell right in front of him.
Flashing the lights at Dale Maxwell and the Mustang to tell him to keep to the outside.
Yeah, Maxwell is doing what he can to let these guys play through. That may have helped Dragotta, who is the aggressive one of the bunch. Mike Dam, though, look at this. He's going to set up wide on Edwards. He's going to probably do a little up and under move here, or maybe try to stay over there as they head down towards turn 10. He can't quite do it for Dam. Dragotta, meanwhile, can't make a mistake here. He's got to hang on to this thing with just about 4 corners left. A little bit of space between our GT4 leaders now as they head one more time, the last time through the turn 11, turn 12. Can't afford a mistake here. Meanwhile.
And Larry coming onto the front straight for his first win of the season. It is Zach Hebert, driver of the number 11 machine. He will take the win in LMP3. Josh Chinsky now we assume will bring the car home. And in GT4 Pro, what a finish as Leo Dragotta gets past Taj Edwards with 1 lap to go. He takes the win. Mike Dam gets around Taj Edwards.
Yeah.
And Edwards finishes in 3rd. And I think Edwards may have run out of fuel on the last lap.
I bet he did.
As he pulls over now to let cars by.
We were wondering. He had the slightly shorter fuel stop than his rivals. He was first one out. And I think that moment
might have been
was a gamble. But that may have been the difference here. It ends up costing him 2nd place. But what a race between those 3. Dale Maxwell, great recovery for him. And, of course, Zach Hebert getting the first win for him here in the series. Oh, I can't wait to talk to all these winners. This was great.
That's right.
Great
so
night
Dale Maxwell takes another win on the season, win number 6 of 7, Larry. And John Casey brings his Mercedes home in 2nd in GT4 AM, finishing in 3rd. Ryan Haley in the BMW. Wow. All right, let's breathe.
Unbelievable night.
Let's breathe. Auntie's in the chat. Auntie, not my auntie. She had nothing to do with the treehouse. But Auntie's in the chat, giving a big thumbs up and big claps. Let's do this, Larry. Let's go take our final break. Well, thanks to our partners and sponsors, and then we will talk to our race winners here tonight at Zandvoort, where you've just seen round number 7 of the miniMite Sportscar Challenge. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sportscar Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Welcome back to Zandvoort, where you've just seen round number 7 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sports Car Challenge. I'm Greg Ginsburg along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, let's take a look at that final order. We thought it might be an SRT eSport 1-2 tonight. It was not to be. The man with the pace in LMP3, Zach Hebert from Echelon Simsport, taking the win over Josh Chinsky. Michelle Squarick manages to hold on for 3rd place. Over in GT4 AM, Dale Maxwell for Slowbros takes his 6th win of the season, taking the win over Frito Sport Racing's John Casey, with Ryan Haley bringing his car home in 3rd. And over in GT4 Pro, it is an all-Orion podium. And thankfully, Leo Dragoto is able to push Mike Dam and Taj Edwards up towards the podium. And actually, I think Taj might still be stuck around turn 3 or so as Edwards ran out of fuel crossing the finish line and taking the checkered flag. Mike Dam ran out of fuel shortly after, and Leo Dragotta is he's the Orion tow truck, or maybe he's the Huffy bike truck or something. I don't know.
He's the Orion fuel truck.
Yes, exactly. Not even old enough to drive. All right, let's, Larry, bring in, and this is a great result for him. Let's bring in Zach Hebert from Echelon Simsport, getting a rookie this year, getting his very first win in the miniMite Sports Car Challenge.
All right, joining us here, your winner in LMP3, Zach Hebert. Zach, what a race for you. We thought maybe at the beginning it was going to be maybe those drivers like Michelle and Josh were going to run away, but you reeled them in and showed you had the pace. My goodness, what a race, though, between you and Josh there at the end. Tell me a bit about what it was like, how much contact there was between you guys on the closing laps.
Like I said, at the very beginning, I share your sentiments. I thought that first run through with traffic was kind of it. Again, I at the beginning, I kind of figured I had enough pace to stick with them and just kind of hopefully extend the tires towards the end of the race. But as we got on, again, I didn't see what happened to Michelle when she spun there. But then, like I said, it was just kind of ebbs and flows through traffic is kind of what it felt like, really. It feels like I took all my licks in traffic kind of at the beginning that put me, that 6.5 seconds behind Michelle and Josh. And like I said, it was just kind of, keep chugging away, because I mean, what else are you gonna do? Yeah. Like I said, it's super hard racing between both of us. Like I said, with Dan spinning there in front of me, I lifted off before the corner thinking, okay, we're just gonna let him get through it and I'll cut under him. or go around him, which is what I was planning to do. And then as I got closer, his rear end just kept going, and I thought to myself, there's no way. And like I said, and then Josh got through, and then like I said, it was just good hard racing. Like I said, the over under, and then the kind of, you know, the contact we had right before that next corner. Like I said, it's just hard racing. It's guys fighting, you know, with 3 laps to go, trying to fight for a win. So great race to him. Like I said, super fun. Well, long overdue for myself. I feel coming off of VIR earlier on in the season. So
yeah, you've definitely had your share of downs. It was time for some ups here for you. But in this being your first season with us, you've got this first victory under your belt. You've had almost a full season to kind of use this. What have been your thoughts joining here in this group and the level of talent you get to compete with week after week?
It's great. Like I said, I'll take any excuse to race the LMP3 against anybody. Like I said, you know, whatever skill. Like I said, I'm here to compete regardless of who's on the track. Like I said, and it's great to have guys that'll push you to try and, you know, obviously, like after VIR, it kind of seemed like, okay, you know, the new guys here kind of try and catch up. And they definitely did. I definitely, like I said, had some downs, especially, you know, a couple races after that. But again, that just makes me have to step my game up better and either prep better or try and do setup work better, or, you know, do something to try and break through that. Like I said, and tonight definitely, I didn't have the highest hopes going in. Just looking at practice times, I was thinking, okay, we can at least, you know, stick with them and just kind of see how traffic pans out. But I made some setup changes in practice that kind of came to me. My tires were definitely feeling it towards the end. They were definitely screaming for mercy, hoping the race would be over. Like I said, but we came through and we took it tonight.
Yeah, awesome job. It was so exciting to watch. This is definitely one of the best races we've seen in quite a while. And what a great way to get your first victory in the series. But I know that you've probably got a whole team, maybe some friends of the family watching in. You want to give a mention to?
I know some of the Echelon guys are watching, so shout out to them. But yeah, like I said, just a great night. Looking forward to the next race in 2 weeks.
All right, well, congrats on this first victory here. Well earned for sure here in Zandvoort. Your winner in LMP3 from Echelon Simsport, Zach Hebert. Congrats.
Thank you. You guys have a good night.
And same to you. Congratulations, Zach. All right, let's move over, Larry, to GT4AM. And this is getting to be old hat, man. We're now talking to him for the 6th time this season, taking the win for Slow Bros Racing in his Ford Mustang, Dale Maxwell.
All right, joining us here is your winner in GT4 Pro-Am, or it is Pro-Am? GT4-Am, Dale Maxwell, Slow Bros getting the win. And Dale, yeah, Greg says you and I, we've been having a regular thing here. You seem to be finding your way to Victory Circle quite often. Tonight, though, not without its challenges. Walk me through a little bit of the ups and downs and the post-pit stop, what went on there.
I'm so stressed out right now. It was I did a bunch of practices, and that Mustang just ate through the tires. There wasn't anything that I could do that would make it not eat through the tires. So I ended up having one race where I changed my setup a little bit, and I actually made it through an AI race, the same set. So that was the plan for me going into this. But I actually kind of got an opportunity with, I think John Casey and Stephen May. They weren't too terribly far behind me, but I knew I could probably conserve fuel and still catch back up if I got a full set. So I changed my full set and got my fuel, caught back up to Eric Violet. I figured he was up to something because I never catch up to him. So I knew he was conserving fuel. I was like, I'll just stick behind him and we'll see how it goes. So I ended up with just enough to finish the final lap with probably about another quarter lap to go. And then I just coasted the way around to the finish line.
Yeah, that may have been a theme tonight, the nearly running out or actually running out of fuel. It seems a lot of drivers did that. I think having the LMP3 cars cross the line, I think at like the 74 minute and 50 second mark or something like that. We couldn't have got closer to actually having an early checker if we would have tried. Instead, everybody had to run that one extra lap, and it may have cost them. But great strategy on your part to recognize what was going on there around you and just kind of sticking in there to that fuel saving pace. It worked out well. And some nights you have to have raw pace. Other nights you got to have good strategy. Tonight seemed like a little bit of both. Certainly was exciting there for a while in the battles that you did have. Avi with Eric there for a bit. And I think even early in the race, your teammates were challenging you. Have you heard from them? Or are they on suicide watch now after the way the rest of the Slow Bros went?
No, I mean they're trying to finish, and I know they had a pretty good pace on qualifying lap, and just on lap one, I think it was like turn 7 when I saw Lucas spin out, and then I saw that they were involved. My stomach just dropped. I was like, oh my gosh, not again. But they ended up catching back up, I think, before the first fuel up, and I was kind of hoping they could stick around. So after I got fuel, I don't know where they went.
Yeah, I think we ended up with David in 4th, Michael back in 7th after a couple of issues, and Doug was looking for. It looked like he might have been driving in the rain for himself. It was a pretty rough night. That McLaren looked like an absolute handful for him. Not nearly as smooth as yourself in the Mustang. I tell you, that Mustang, you've really bonded well with this car now coming in. What do we say? This is the 6th win in 7 rounds or something. But you and this Mustang seem to have a pretty good deal going on. Do you do a lot of other race series with this car in between the alternating Mondays?
Hey, I do. I have, aside from the AI stints that I do the quite a few of the endurance races. Some public lobbies, those have proved to be kind of a nightmare for me for the 40-minute races. So I try and stay away from those. But if it's a track that I know really well, I'll get after it. But yeah, I just like how this car handles it. Fits my driving style pretty good. So.
Well, looking forward to seeing. We got 1 round left in the season before you can clinch that championship, but it's certainly getting closer with performances like tonight. But I know you probably want to give a shout out and some mention to some folks who may have helped you along the way today.
Definitely the wife for putting up with my hours on end of being in my man cave. The family, the rest of them are all watching. Buddies at work. Again, you guys, Apex for putting on this race and hosting it, and Ricmotech and XMS for all that they do to keep this series in play.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun watching tonight's race, Dale, and congrats on another victory here for the Slow Bros racing team, representing well for you, getting the win here in GT4 AM. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, thanks so much, Dale. And so, Larry, it took him a while to get to the green room because I got word that he might have been siphoning fuel out of his car so that they could get Taj Edwards' Porsche back to the pits. We now have Leo Dragota, our winner in GT4 Pro, taking his 6th win on the season. Let's talk to him.
All right, Leo Dragota joining us here post-race. And Leo, first, we'll get out of the way here that you had enough fuel, and it looks like Taj ran out before the checker and Mike ran out shortly after. It had to be even close for you. You couldn't have had much fuel left either. You guys, your pit stops looked like nearly the same.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. We were all saving together, and we were all fighting over who could save the most, because whoever could save the most was gonna come out on top at the end. I ended up saving a lot in that first stint, and then me and Mike went full fuel. We took full as much as we could, but Taj took 2 liters less.
Yeah.
So he had to fuel save just as much as he did in the first stint, while me and Mike could push just a little harder. So we still had to fuel save a lot, but I ended up saving the less in that final last stint, so I was able to come out on top.
Yeah, awesome stuff. The side-by-side the first time with Todd to the turn 1 hairpin, he looks like he got a bit of a slide as he was coming off the exit. You get the advantage. You take the lead at that point. A little later, things shuffle, and he's back again on the inside. He's got the lead. The second time through, though, he gets a good exit. You guys are side-by-side, and at that point, you're on the outside going into 2. what's your strategy there? What we saw what you ended up doing was getting yourself to the high side of the bowl before he did, and allows you to get the slingshot. But that's the strategy there? If you find yourself on the exit at once and just have to get to the outside before he does?
Yeah, any run on that high side, coming off that high side, it's better than going onto the high side and then coming down. So you get such a better slingshot. So yeah, I just tried to get to the high side so I could exit off the high side. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
It looked amazing. It was just beautiful stuff. And of course, it wasn't over at that point. There were still all the other things going on with the LMP3s coming through the last time, and just absolutely crazy. But it was so much fun to watch. We essentially focused on you guys for probably the last half an hour of the race tonight, because it was just so amazing to be able to see. Awesome, though. You managed to come away with another victory. We weren't sure you were going to get one here, but you do end up getting the victory there. Here for the team. Your championship is getting closer. One more round to go. It'll be at Brands Hatch in a couple of weeks, but tonight, another win. But I know you probably want to even thank some of those teammates and others that you get to battle with week after week.
Yeah, Ryan, that was, again, a pretty fun race. We're all lying about our fuel mileage and stuff, and how, if we can make it or not. It's pretty funny. Huffy, you guys for the broadcast, people who put on the league, and parents, family.
Yeah, well, awesome stuff. This was a ton of fun to watch. Absolutely the most entertaining thing we've seen in quite a while. So appreciate you putting on a show for us, and congrats on coming away victorious here for Orion Race Team. Your winner, Leo Dragotta. Congrats.
All right, thanks so much, Leo. Let's, Larry, go and wrap things up here from Zandvoort by taking a look at what we've got coming up in the next couple weeks. Next week, Monday night, and that is December 1st. I can't believe it's December already. We have round number 7, the penultimate round of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge. It is our second 90-minute endurance race. It will be at the Nürburgring GP circuit, so the new circuit, not the green hell. And then in 2 weeks, you said it, Monday night, December 8th, it is the season finale, the miniMite Sportscar Challenge. It is going to be in Brands Hatch, and then in 3 weeks, the World Challenge finale, 75 minutes at Spa. And so it's going to be a very exciting next 3 weeks coming up across our 3 different series. So for Larry Lefty McLeod, for Jonathan Grabowski, I'm Greg Ginsburg, and we'll see you next Monday night from the Nürburgring. Have a great week, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.